KX Centre is one of the major Science Foundation Ireland research centres, and it's about communication management in the next generation networks. What Connect is looking at is the management of the infrastructure to deliver the next generation services. So as we know, network technology is going through a hugely disruptive phase. So you have access networks, you have core networks, but increasingly you also have the Internet of Things and sensor networks, and they're being linked to the internet. So what we're looking at is taking a holistic approach, an end-to-end approach, looking at end-to-end quality of service for delivery of services over to communication networks. So it's bringing together expertise from that background. So you've got Linda Dial's group, CTVR, who are really in the wireless access networks. You've got ourselves in the core network. You've got Tyndall, who are in the Internet of Things. And it's a 50 million euro centre. We have over 40 companies that we're working with at different levels of the delivery chain, and our focus is very much about delivering the if you like, the service development, service communication infrastructure for delivery of those services. One of the great things of these centres is that it provides a platform where postgraduates are getting not only the opportunity to do good fundamental research, to do state-of-the-art research, but also to work with some of the leading industries in the world. So for instance, our researchers are working with IBM or Cisco. That opportunity not only to develop your research, develop new ideas, but to look at opportunities for applying that to real-world problems. So what we encourage in this centre is to get postdocs who really work at three different levels. On the one hand, postdocs who help the postgraduate students, who help them to develop their research, looking at more kind of long-term problems, who have their own research area that is complementary to that, but also who focus very much on the application of it through close collaboration with industry. So I think it's, you know, in Ireland we always talk about industry-ready graduates. So this is an ideal environment where you are actually producing the type of graduates and postdoctoral researchers who can migrate between research and industry, academia and industry, because I think this is the way the industry is changing. Increasingly now, there's opportunities for postdoctoral fellows to spend part of their time in academia and part of the time in industry. Previously, that wasn't possible. You know, one of the really exciting areas is to look at the whole area of looking at access network as a service. So to date, people think of access networks as just bandwidth, available bandwidth, where if you're using a particular service, you have to compete with bandwidth. So you have access control is the main way of controlling access to the bandwidth itself. But what we're looking at is taking a service perspective. So what that means is that you can actually provide different levels of access to different services. So you can fine-tune the available bandwidth to the services that are using it. So what that means is that in a case where you have more kind of bandwidth-hungry services, you can optimize the access network for those at a particular point. In a case where you have low bandwidth services, you may be able to bundle them together and they may be able to share a particular bandwidth. In some cases, you can delay the transmission of information for certain services because it's not time critical. So it's that whole idea of taking a very scarce resource, particularly when you look at fourth generation networks, which is the access bandwidth, and developing solutions that are much more service orientated. And that's very much about, you know, what Connect is about, is network as a service and how you develop solutions in that space.